loss to Iowa started a week of change. Dana Holgorsen is here to tutor Dylan Raiola for 2 more years. Tony White's off on a new adventure, and recruits are signing on Wednesday. So what's next? We are here to be your tour guide on the future of Husker football, all coming up on Big Red Wrap-Up. Hi, everyone. I'm Michael Severe, and welcome to Big Red Wrap-Up on Nebraska Public Media. There is a lot to get to tonight, and we want to hear from you, the viewer. We've got some phones standing by. We have a chance for you to be able to get a hold of us by text or email. You can send those comments or questions to bigred@nebraskapublicmedia.org. We're also monitoring our social media accounts tonight as well, so send us your thoughts on the Big Red Wrap-Up page on Facebook or X account, and we'll answer as many of the questions as we can. Let's do our sideline survey, look back at what we had for you last week. What player would you like to see more involved in the offense? The winner was Heinrich Haarberg. We did see him a little bit more. We saw Carter Nelson more as well. And then there's Garcia Castaneda and Bonner and Fedoni. This week's question, what bowl would you prefer to see Nebraska in? You have the Guaranteed Rate Bowl in Phoenix. 41% say that one. Probably not going there. TransPerfect Music City Bowl in Nashville. 43%. Probably not going there. The none of the above is the same as the Pinstripe Bowl in New York, so we know what people think about that one. We have a full crew tonight joining me, everything that's going on. Former Huskers, Jay Moore and Damon Benning. Sean Callahan as well, lots to do. Let's start off with the happy news. Dana Holgorsen, 2 years, going to be around. Talk to us about how that works in terms of his contract.
Yeah, on Saturday, they settled Dana Holgorsen's contract. Dana Holgorsen signed a 2-year agreement where Nebraska will pay him $1.2 million, and then Houston still will owe him $4.5, and Nebraska's amount will be deducted from that. And then on the next year, Houston will only have to pay 60% of what Dana Holgorsen is owed, and then Nebraska will continue to pay him $1.2. So they are getting Dana Holgorsen at a discounted price. I mean, a coordinator of his stature is generally going to push $2 million, and Nebraska will get him for $1.2, actually less than what they're currently paying Marcus Satterfield.
And you saw 3 games with him in charge. What did you like about it that gets you excited for next year?
I just like the fact that, excuse me, I think, you know, the competitive nature that he approaches the game is huge. He's demanding, he's thorough, he's a great teacher. I think he instills confidence, and he knows personnel. So going forward, I think all those things will matter.
I'm not saying it's ever happened to you, but what's it like when they call it a player? When they say, you know, the running backs need to hit this hole, or the wide receivers need to block, or the defensive end needs to get that edge, or something like that?
Oh, it's definitely happened to me. Not publicly.
Right.
I think you play this game long enough, you're going to get called out.
Sure.
The saying is if they stop calling you out, that's when you got to be worried. Like they care, so they want you to perform better. Been called out plenty of times. Yeah, you can take it one or two ways. You can get better from it, or you can take your ball and kind of go home and tuck your tail between the legs and not get better from it. But I like the fact that, you know, Thomas Fedoni.
Yeah.
You know, after the Wisconsin game, comes out, maybe has his best week of practice, they said, all year. Heading into the Iowa game, you see him, contributes, makes a couple of big catches. But you like that competitive nature. You sure, call me out, recognize some things, but I'm going to get better from it. And as a player, it's like, okay, it's my time to prove you wrong. But that's what you want as a coach, too. It's got to tick you off a little bit as a player, and you got to respond.
Yeah, before we talk about Tony White, what you saw from Emmett Johnson, what was it about what Dana Holgorsen was doing to affect what Emmett Johnson did, what the offensive line did? Because he'd like a different back at times.
Yeah, I just like the fact that from a concept standpoint, it's clean. You know, the double, the move, the crease, the backside wall, you know, how they wash guys. It just suits his running style where as long as he's just pressing that point of attack and staying on that crease, he's just a naturally gifted crease finder. Mm-hmm. So we've kind of said all year, at least I have, that the holes are there.
Yeah.
You just got to find them. And that's the way that this offense is predicated up front, and it plays to Emmett's strengths.
No doubt about that. Let's go. On3 was the first report, the Florida State site, that Tony White was going to Florida State. How did that all develop?
You know, it developed awfully quick because you generally don't see a big move like this until after signing day. But Florida State was able to get it official with Tony White. And you look at just the timeline of the way the last few weeks of the season played out for Nebraska. The loss at Indiana with 56 points, and then nearly beating Ohio State, but then the tough loss at home against UCLA where the defense was on the field for 14 and a half of the first 16 minutes of that game, a 25-3 play count to open that game up. just the tone of things. You just wonder how much things changed and what went on behind the scenes. Because I think on the surface, fans are very surprised to lose Tony White. But
To Florida State, not to lose him.
To lose him, but to have him see him move on, especially after they fought to keep him. And his contract did state, there was a buyout if he left for anything else other than a head coaching position. So this, I think, caught everybody by surprise. I think from the fan level, but it's an opportunity for him. He's going to be on a 3-year contract at Florida State, and probably have the autonomy or whatever he's looking for that he doesn't have right now. It's an opportunity he wants to take on.
Why do you think Florida State? Why do you think that's the choice?
I mean, I think it was important for him to be back in Florida. Mm-hmm. There's only a couple reasons I could think that I would make a move like this, where it's not necessarily about finances, it's about specific locations. And for me, I would just think family. And I think that was important to him, to be in that part of the country at this particular juncture. And I think he's going to make it work. He'll have some talented guys to work with, and I just don't want people to be too dismissive of the job that he did, because when you're top 30 in stuff rate and you give up as few points as they have, you've earned the right to be on the better end of a win-loss record. So I don't want to be dismissive about the job that he's done or the person that he is at all.
David brings up stuff rate. Half the runs Iowa had on Friday night were stuffed. 10 of the runs that Ohio State, and Ohio State, they stuffed them too, and other ones. Like anytime it was third or less, Nebraska did a very good job of stopping them. What do you take away from what Tony White did with this defense?
Take a lot. I didn't know when he came in here. I didn't know what to expect with a 3-3-5. I knew he had talent. Obviously, you're able to do that stuff because of the guys you have up front: Ty, Nash, Jamari. Luke Reimers, Nick Henrich last year, Mekhi Bayer. Some younger guys this year in the linebacker in that room. Your edge guys with Sherman and Princewell, and so you have some good edge guys. You can do all that stuff because you have good talent.
Yeah.
And they understand where those guys were talented. They put them in the right places to win pre-snap, and they taught them. That's a hard role to play because Ty, Nash, Jamari, they had to play multiple positions. 5 technique, 3 technique, 4-eye, a shade. That's a lot to ask your guys, but they had the guys to do it, and they did some unique things up front, which you don't see a lot. But in a 3-3-5, it worked out fantastic. And whoever's going to fill in, that's some awfully big shoes to fill, for sure.
Let's cut something off at the past. There are people out there that are saying the reason why he left was Phil Snow getting in the way, or maybe John Butler changing some things. Do you think that the whole too many cooks in the kitchen was an issue?
Yeah, I'm not of that volition. I know some other people may think differently up here, but that's not what I think. I think that if that was the case, he was extremely professional about it. It certainly was unbeknownst to Coach Rule and the rest of that staff. So I don't think that's what it is at all. I think part of what people have to understand is, at this stage of your career, when you have the kinds of things that he has at his disposal, staying sharp, staying motivated, and staying competitive is always important, but the whole person is important too. And so, it's a different set of circumstances sometimes for guys that aren't used to it being in the state of Nebraska.
Sure.
With the city of Lincoln and the surrounding areas. He did a really good job.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we didn't really realize what a good job he was doing, especially relative to where Nebraska had been. So I think a lot of factors play in, and I'd put the Phil Snow thing, at least for me, and the information I'm aware of, way down on the list.
Whoever gets this job, and we've been around a lot of coaches, a lot of assistants, this is a lot of pressure. Getting a bowl game is one thing, but just being a Nebraska coach and the amount of pressure there is to get this thing turned around, whoever comes in here has to understand what they're getting into.
Yeah, there were so many highs this year where you're like, what they did to Colorado, what they did to Kyle Monangai, what they did to Ohio State, what they did to Iowa, were the best of the best. You're like, wow, Nebraska was as good as any defense in the country on those days. But then you look at the Indiana game and the UCLA game and some of the other moments that raise red flags. So, the pressures, the week-to-week pressures here, because once you thought you had it all figured out at Ohio State, then the UCLA game happened. And I think the pressure is real for a coach that takes this job because you are analyzed a lot more by the fan base, by everybody here. The microscope on this program is obviously a lot bigger than most places. There's probably only 5 or 6 places where it's bigger or as big as Nebraska in college football.
System's obviously a big deal, but talent on defense and having the wherewithal to be able to play down in, down out. What would you like to see in terms of, you want to see somebody stay and have the 3-3-5? Would you like to see them going back to 4-3? What do you want to see defensively in the Big Ten?
Yeah, I played in a 4-3. I've played on multiple different fronts. I played in an over front. I played in an under front. We don't have enough time to get into the difference between the two. I played in multiple different 3-4 defenses in the NFL and understand different concepts. As you have a Wade Phillips concept and you have a Bill Belichick, Bill Parcells kind of a concept in the 3-4. I think any defense can work. You just have to have talent.
Sure.
You have to recruit, and you have to go find talent. You have to have explosive defensive linemen. You have to have guys who rush the passer. You have to have guys who can cover on the edge. And Nebraska's had a mix of those at times, but they just got to get better talent. I think with whatever you have, I don't really care what it is. I think any system can work here at Nebraska. But you got to keep recruiting. You got to get those guys to come here. You got to have speed. You have to have athleticism. I think, if anything, I want to get Nebraska's missing this all over the field. I think they just need some more speed. I think that's what they're lacking overall at times, and that's gonna help for sure.
Let's go back to Friday.
As long as you love playing, if you love playing football, you can play on any front.
Sure.
Less talented, more talented teams be very accomplished playing. You love playing football. 3-man, 4-man, doesn't matter. You can play football.
Yeah, talking to people who played for Bill Belichick, they would always say, you didn't know what they were going to. Tuesday is when they found out what they were going to be doing.
Yeah.
It was going to be something different, and it worked for whoever they're playing against.
I mean,
right?
yeah, it's not like, Pepper Carson or Pepper Johnson, Harry Carson. Those guys were like fleet of foot. Sometimes you just, if you love playing, you'll figure it out.
Yeah. So go back to Friday. Man, it's just, you come out of that game, and Nebraska had maybe 2 or 3 plays that go the wrong way for it. Just the feeling on that first half of the way they dominated.
Yeah, I mean, that was as dominating of a defensive performance as we've seen Nebraska play. I mean, when you look at what Iowa's run game had done all year, leading the Big Ten, they had 2 first-team All-Big Ten offensive linemen, a first-team All-Big Ten running back, and Caleb Johnson. So to be able to do what they did, Iowa 0 for 10 on 3rd downs, 5 first downs in the game. It was unbelievable, and obviously it goes back to the one play in the second half. But at halftime, I came up to you, Michael, and I was like, we're getting ready to go to Florida. And you grabbed me and said, Sean, no. And we have a lot of fun after that. I jinxed it in the press box there at that moment. But that was Nebraska needed to do more, though, with that defensive performance. I mean, you would have liked to have seen that 13-0 or 17-0, and then that game's over at that point.
Yeah, sometimes it's one play. We always talk about the end, but I go back to the first drive. Jalen Lloyd in that post, wide open. Yeah. That's a touchdown. I know it's only a 4-point difference, but man, the energy that would have went out of that stadium when you hit that.
Yeah, it's huge, and I think what it does is it frees you up to be who you want it to be. I think originally in that game as a play caller, because there was all sorts of concepts that were open.
Yeah.
I really like what they did in terms of getting guys open, and there were a handful of plays in that first half where I felt like Nebraska should have been upwards near of probably the 20-point mark. And I'm just saying that to be conservative.
Sure.
It could have been over 20 points, but that's just who Iowa is. And I think when you don't capitalize and they don't flinch, what it forces you to do is kind of get outside of yourself a little bit, because you feel like, at some point it's coming. And eventually it did.
Yeah, they wait for you to make a mistake. Let's talk about that. Special teams, again, you get the muff punt, you get the missed field goal from a guy who had been really on fire because of the bad snap. But again, special teams, a good reason for a loss.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you get in these close ball games, and we've seen it for these one-score games for how many years now, a lot of it comes down to special teams, and Nebraska just hasn't been good on that side of in that phase of the game.
Yeah.
It's whether it's a snapping issue. I mean, we've had good snaps, and we have kickers we've had kicking issues. Returning punts, the kicking game. It just rears its ugly head at the wrong time. I mean, this play right here, and I know it's hard, but, IGC here just needs to be yelling. I think they yell poison as loud as you can to get that out there, to get the word that you did not touch that football. There's some guys around that saw that, but you see some guys scrambling around it just in case. And this is an effort play because you don't know.
Yep.
But overall, those 2 plays, this came down to 4 different plays of losing this football game, and that one was huge. But even though the defense does step up and hold them to 3 points after that, that's a huge win. But you just felt after that missed field goal that things were starting to slide, and you're starting to lose that momentum that you had for that whole first half.
You obviously are you're the longest punt return in state history in high school football. You did it for a long time. You did it at the next level. What did you see on that play? What did you think about the way they were punting? They were punting short all night.
Catch the ball.
Yeah. Come up and get it.
Catch the ball.
Yeah.
He could say poison, Peter, pickles, pizza. To give. I understand that he didn't think he could get it. He stayed away from it. But when you get that close, within 1.5 yards, I think it just simply starts with fielding the ball. I'm not upset with Shavers for making a hustle play.
Tried, yeah.
Prude, in his defense, he wasn't sure. He's trying to make a hustle play. So I think you just get the ball fielded. Just do the little things, right? Mm-hmm. Running fair catch, plenty of time. He's kicked the ball about, 40, 41 yards on average. It's going to be a short punt.
Yeah.
Get it fielded, fair catch it, nothing to worry about.
He was cooking it so much shorter. So he had like
was thick out
34,
there.
33, 36. That's a 46-yard punt guy.
Yeah.
I think it was kind of part of their strategy.
It was,
right?
it was very heavy.
Yeah.
I watched warm-ups for special teams, and I was surprised but not surprised that the 53-yarder went in. But balls weren't traveling very well.
Yeah.
Buschini likes to drop a ball a certain way, and when he was getting his spirals, the balls would carry a little bit, but you needed that tail up, right? You're just taught to read the flight of the ball, tail up, tail down, and I felt like the air was a little thick, but I don't know. You may be right. Forcing the running fair catches and putting guys in a bind, it paid dividends.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy? The same play a year ago plagued Nebraska. Ethan Nation fumbled a punt in the same type of situation and same score. I mean, it's amazing that Iowa has found a way to beat Nebraska essentially with that play being the play that kind of turned the game both years.
There's nothing more prophetic than when Coach Rule said a few weeks ago, you just got to make a play. Mm-hmm. Isaiah Nayor is running on a play, perfectly drawn up. He's got a lead blocker in front of him. Saw the exact same play on a Sunday night watching a football game in the NFL. It scored. He catches that ball, it's a whole different game. It's like one guy.
What'd I come over and tell you at halftime?
I know. You showed me also that was open.
Smack, you run the hitch, the corner, the over route.
Yeah.
It'll be wide open.
And it was wide open.
It's wide open. Man, I tried to, the child in me, looks kind of out the press box window because Lane and those guys like.
You're looking at the lights.
I wanted to see how low they were.
Yeah.
I wanted to see if I could at least try to figure out what could have happened, but it wasn't near as much the drop as
the reaction
that kept me up at night.
Yeah, I know. He didn't he was that upset about it. Let's go to the Friday highlights. We will, I don't think we're going to see that play, but we'll see a lot of it. It was, of course, the battle for the Heroes Trophy. And it was a cold night, but I tell you, it wasn't overly windy. It wasn't that bad for that, but overall, it was a windy day. Iowa comes out trying to get Jackson Stratton started, but like Nebraska did all night on a third down, they got the stop, and they made sure that Iowa couldn't get a first down 10 times exactly. This is a great catch by Jamal Banks, making a play on the sideline. And Damon, watch how he runs here. I tell you, man, we saw it earlier, but he just is more elusive the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, I love the fact that he's constantly gaining ground, right? He's not being busy, he's getting vertical, which always helps.
Yep. Another big play to Nate Borkacher, another guy who got a lot of help. Then you have the short field goal. That was kind of a bad snap, but it gets recovered by Buschini. He gets it down. It's 3-0. Again, you didn't see it, but Jalen Lloyd was open on a post that could have easily been a touchdown there to make it 7 instead. This is one of the few plays they actually had a chance to make a play.
Yeah.
And Stratton overthrew it, but gives the ball back again to Nebraska. And for the most part, they were protecting Dylan, but they pressured him a lot, right, Sean?
Yeah.
What was the number?
Yeah, they brought, Iowa brought a lot of pressure. I mean, more than, teams have brought the last few weeks. They forced the issue when the numbers went. I don't know what the total number was that we had, but it was more than what Nebraska had seen the week before.
Yeah, it was almost half of the dropbacks, and so they were getting to him a little bit. Got a couple sacks right there. You saw a stop on short yards. We talked about the stuff plays, and here's Nebraska again getting to him coming off.
Yeah, Nebraska didn't have to, they blitzed a few times, but they were able to get home with 3 or 4 guys majority of the game. And this play right here, this is a pressure rush, right? I mean, just your pressure sack. We bring 3 guys at 8 in coverage, and James Williams does a good job of coming downhill and making that play.
Nice throw to Ja'Cory Barney. Remember this, too. Everything that Nebraska did, they went against the defensive line that, as of the day, has 3 first team or 2 first teams and 1 second team.
The blitz pickup was the key right there.
Yeah, good play on that. Emmett Johnson again, getting every yard he can get. Nebraska sitting there at 2nd and 8. Nice throw again. Another guy who really benefited from the change is Bart Banks.
Yeah, allowing guys to win. The slant route, he's a big body.
Yep.
He's really good at stacking you. You know, he can straighten you
Yep.
up as a big receiver. He flourished.
He's a little bit like Stanley. He doesn't have top speed, but he definitely makes himself open. You bring in the big 2 defensive linemen, Dowdoga's touchdown. It's 10-0. I think a lot of people right here are thinking that might be enough.
Yeah, as long as Nebraska didn't give Iowa any possessions, you felt pretty good.
You felt pretty good about that, no doubt. Celebration going to second half now. Again, Nebraska comes out, and they're making plays. They move the ball well enough. Here,
A heck of
they
a
only had
throw.
6 real explosive plays. That was one of them right there. Nice, good throw again to Fedoni. Another good run to get a first down. Nebraska was aggressive on their 3rd downs. I wish they were a little aggressive on their 4th down, but I know you're playing field possession. This is a 3rd down where you think, we'll get a little bit and we'll settle for the field goal.
Yeah, he had the end breaker coming open. You'll see it in the middle of the screen.
Yep.
And that's just one of those you want to let go in anticipation, but I tell you what, you think this is 3 points though.
Yeah. Bad snap, as you see there. Ball goes wide left. That was the first miss, I believe, in 8 tries by John Olney hitting a row. And then here's the punt. We saw it earlier. Like you said, come up and catch the ball.
Yeah, you see the kind of staggered stance and the fair catch. Just go get the ball.
Yeah, and so it ends up getting touched. You see on the slow motion, you mentioned Prue tries to get it. He doesn't get to it. Then there's a hustle to the ball. You mentioned Shaver's just trying to make a play, barely gets his left hand on it before they get their hand on it.
That would have been either way. If they would have reviewed it touch first Iowa, they would have to go. They would have to stick with that call, I think.
Probably a good chance. I thought it was kind of clear in the review, but this is what Nebraska did, though. Again, quick change.
At the point of attack, they were so good with their hands.
That was a loss of 2 yards
Just
right there.
getting into Iowa's D-line.
And I don't know what they were trying to do here with Jackson Stratton on the move. This play was beat from the beginning. They got to Lachey.
Good job by Nebraska getting in the flats, not letting a fullback cross your face.
Yeah.
They learned.
Power pass, yep.
Yeah, they learned.
They learned from that early. Yeah, Purdue, obviously, Illinois got them too with that. And then, so it's 10-3 now. Iowa's trying to make play. Here's one of the few big plays again they had. It wasn't on 3rd down, but you had that catch, and then the first play of the 4th quarter. Talk about tackle.
This was tough. I'd like to see Bullock, either go high. I think he was trying to get the ball out. Sometimes he's got to
That's
try to
what I
run him
thought.
out of bounds,
Yep.
or take his legs out. Something. You have a guy making a play, knocks him off. Obviously, they missed a clear block in the back on Isaac Gifford, but right here, you just got to get him out of bounds some way, somehow. Not try to mess with the ball. First guy cannot try to get the ball out because that's the 2nd and 3rd guy's job.
Damon, is that a play they're even trying to get a big gain on, or just trying to help the punter?
No, they're
out?
just trying to help the punter out, right? You want to get in something manageable, and you get a great player like that out in space. I guess anything's possible.
The ball comes back to Emmett Johnson, who had a great game. The running game overall and catching the ball out of the backfield. He fumbles there but recovers it. This whole 4th quarter, they were a total of 3 fumbles, obviously, or you count the muff, that'd be 4 fumbles, and then you had the loss. Good throw here. Why is Jalen Lloyd only coming along at the end of 4th quarters? What is up with that?
Yeah, I think he's probably wondering the same thing.
He is asking the same. So is his
Some of
mom.
that's on his quarterback, some of that's on the concept.
Yeah, so you get the first down here, and so Nebraska's sitting in a perfect spot. The question is, do you want to try to get a first down, or you want to settle and get in overtime? And they try to win it, and of course the fumble happens.
It was a heck of a rush by
The tough part about this thing is that initially they say that he's down, and before they go to the replay, they say the official call actually is a fumble and recovery. So that changes what the review guy is looking for when he's looking under the hood. It makes it different.
Yeah, I missed the last second call of it being a fumble.
Yeah. And then I watched him in the pregame. He had about 4 50-yarders, but he couldn't get past 50. He nails that 53. Despite they lost 3 yards, Nebraska forced them another loss of yards on a run, but still ends up making it. And obviously, same score, same final. And we have the whole Higgins gone over to get the handshake. Nebraska dominated the whole thing. Less than 200 yards total offense. Remember, 72 of them came on one play. So you have more than a third of the offense comes on one play. 4 plays accounted for 125 of the yards. And, of course, the 0 for 10 on 3rd down as well. But you lose the battle of special teams and, of course, turnovers as well. Our players of the game this week go to Emmett Johnson. Not a surprise, again, on offense with almost 100 total yards in offense. And on defense, it goes to all the black shirts. As we mentioned, only gave up 20 yards in the first half and held the Hawkeyes to 5 first downs the entire game. Coming up next, we'll hear a different voice on the changes with Tom Chattel from the Omaha World Herald. But first, let's check in with Molly Delaney to ask for help so Nebraska Public Media can continue to give you the more quality programming.
Thanks, Michael. You're watching Big Red Wrap-Up on Nebraska Public Media, and I'm Molly Delaney. And like you, I'm enjoying the recap of the Iowa game from our experienced crew here at Big Red Wrap-Up. It's member drive time, and we want to thank you for being a loyal viewer and supporter of Big Red Wrap-Up. Your donations make this and other programs possible, so please consider this your reminder to become a member or renew your membership. Call 800-989-8236 or go online to nebraskapublicmedia.org/donate, and we'll thank you with one of these gifts. When you donate $25 a month, that's a one-time donation of $300, we'll send you this autographed football from Coach Tom Osborne. A household name in Nebraska, Coach Osborne was the Huskers head coach for 25 seasons and led Nebraska to 3 national championships. This would be a great addition to your TV room, office, or perhaps a gift for the Husker fan in your life. Or for a one-time donation of $150, that's just $12.50 a month, we'll send you this Nebraska Public Media vest. It's a soft fleece vest with zippered pockets, and it's available in both men's and women's sizes. It's perfect for tailgating or wearing to any Husker sporting event. Plus, you'll be sharing your support for Nebraska Public Media at the same time. Thank you to those of you who've already donated. We love to hear your comments. Beverly and Douglas from Lincoln say they love watching Husker sports on Nebraska Public Media, Nebraska high school sports, championships, and all of the PBS programming. And another Beverly and Pender, says we enjoy the public television and anything that has Nebraska. Volleyball, football, whatever. We love Nebraska and go Big Red. Well, we love Nebraska too, and that's why we share the games with you, and that's why Big Red Wrap-Up is here each week to take you inside the game. Please follow the lead of Beverly and Doug and make your own donation to Nebraska Public Media by calling 800-989 or go online to nebraskapublicmedia.org/donate. And because you love the Huskers, you're going to love this thank you gift. When you donate $25 a month, that's a one-time donation of $300, we'll send you this autographed football from Coach Tom Osborne. A household name in Nebraska, Coach Tom was the Huskers head coach for 25 seasons and led Nebraska to 3 national championships. Like we said, this would be a great addition to your TV room or your office, or maybe you just want to sleep with it under your pillow. Or for a one-time donation of $150, that's just $12.50 a month, we'll send you this Nebraska Public Media vest. It's a soft mid-weight fleece with zippered pockets, and it's available in both men's and women's sizes. It's perfect for tailgating, or you can wear it to any Husker sporting event, or you can just keep yourself snug in your living room. You'll be sharing your support for Nebraska Public Media at the same time. We'll be back before the end of the show to remind you of those thank you gifts, but for now, let's send it back for more of Big Red Wrap-Up.
Thanks, Molly. We appreciate it. Let's go now take a dip into the huddle. Our own Jay Moore.
Welcome back into the huddle tonight, guys. As usual, 2 plays. The first ones we're looking at the offensive play. These are both good plays. Obviously, Nebraska had a lot of good plays in this game. But this is a very well-designed run play. When I look at this from a defensive standpoint, I look at the formation. I see Banks here, Borkacher here. To me, this seems like a toss crack situation. So Iowa probably thinking the same thing. Maybe they're thinking quick to get outside of this to kind of set the edge to make a play. But Nebraska dials up a very nice look to this where you get the hard zone look from the offensive line. You're going to take Borkacher to kick out this end, and it's kind of a wind back to the weak side here, to the boundary side for a run. Nice little 20-yard gain. A really good play design. As you hit run play on this here, you can see this alley now. Everyone's working here. Iowa's trying to cross face. They're trying to set the edge because they thought the play might be coming here, but it's a good play design. Borkacher's coming back over here to kick out this end, and now this alley for Emmett Johnson's right here. A very well-designed, orchestrated play. A nice thing, like to see him maybe put his foot in the ground a little earlier to get upfield, but an overall very well-designed play by Holgorsen and crew for obviously a really nice game. So next play, defensive look here, Nebraska is just going to bring 3 people. This is what we call this a pressure sack. So they're bringing these 3 guys, Williams, Lenhart. I think this is tie down here. We're going to get the end drop, the linebacker dropping into coverage. We've got 8 guys in coverage. Now, he's looking to the boundary side initially. There's nothing there. He has nothing. Now, he does a good job of trying to step up, looks over to his left. He kind of has an angle, but if he throws it now, but he can't. Cam Lenhart's bringing good pressure, knocking the center back. He can't get this ball off. Williams is going to be able to come downhill. Lenhart's coming in his face. This is what we call a pressure sack. This is a well-orchestrated. This is what you like to do. If you can get home with 3 guys defensively, you're going to win all day. But Nebraska had that one bad play that got them the loss.
All right, thanks, Jay. Let's welcome in to Tom Chattel on Zoom. Sports columnist, of course, from the Omaha World Herald. Tom, you called Tony White's move to Florida State a chess move this week. Is it a good one? Is it a bad one? Was it checkmate? Was it just a check? What was it?
You know, I think it was a surprising move in some ways. Not that he left. I mean, I think we've known for 2 years now he's on the way. He's on the way to somewhere else, but that staff's on the hot seat already, and they're they've got a lot of work to do to I get to where they're going to be safe. So I mean, I wish Tony luck. I think he was very good for Nebraska, but he's going into a tough spot.
Tom, I agree. I think who's ever stepping in to fill those shoes next has some big ones to fill, but sticking with who's going to fill in. Do you have a kind of a feel what Coach Rule wants to go in the past? He's liked to kind of bring in guys from inside, but with how things have been, Tony's only been here a couple years, John Butler potentially. How's your feel who the potential replacement could be to fill those shoes of Tony White?
Well, John Butler's the obvious name because he's been a coordinator before. And he's been around college football, NFL, obviously. Yeah, he's been on the staff. I wonder, do we know anything about Terrence Knighton yet? Is he definitely gone? Is there any way they could make him the coordinator? I'm just asking. I don't know. But because I think he's a very valuable piece to have on the staff. I think it's a Rule. You're right. He does like to hire people he knows. But I just got a feeling that the staff is not. There's going to be more shakeups. I think. I'm not sure where. I don't have any clues. But Rule hired this staff at very short notice 2 years ago. He had to do it in a hurry. A lot of these guys were guys he knew and have helped him get the culture built. But I think he's, you got to ask yourself, is this the staff that's going to win in the Big Ten? I think that there's some obvious questions there. But as far as the coordinator, it's a big hire, but just as equally big is getting more players in there who speed, more playmakers. The D line has got to be rebuilt now. So I think that's as big of a deal as the coordinator. Obviously, the coordinator can help you get those guys in the portal. So,
Tom, do you get the sense that Coach Rule kind of tried it maybe not the Nebraska way, but kept recruiting a lot of high school guys. It was more portal building by supplement. Do you think we may see him kind of go the other way now in terms of revamping the roster completely, or is that kind of a natural answer given who may hit the portal?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Obviously they've got to cut it down to the 105 limit now. And there may be more than that who leave. I think he's got to consider that the portal is the way to build. I mean, it's a new world now, and 2 years ago he didn't know. None of us knew what was going to happen to Colorado. Obviously, Indiana. He came in last August with a a whole bunch of players, and they got it done with a bunch of older guys that he knew. Rule couldn't do that 2 years ago. He wasn't in college football. He didn't have a team to bring with him. But I think now it's a lot different than it was 2 years ago. We've seen the impact that the portal can have, good and bad. Right? There's some guys you get who may not pan out. It's a gamble in a lot of ways. But I think, yeah, you've got to. I think he's seen how good the Big Ten is. I think he's seen the talent level, what it takes. Yeah, you can build and you can try to do it 3 or 4 years, but then a lot of guys you try to build with leave. So, what are you building with? It's a crazy cycle. It drives coaches crazy, and so I think he needs to go to the portal more.
Hey, Tom, what's your just feel for the upcoming bowl game? I mean, with nearly 10 players already in the transfer portal that haven't, I mean, the portal hasn't even opened yet, technically, at this point. I mean, what is your feel going into a bowl, maybe in New York, as far as your expectation for what Nebraska might look like, knowing that they could be 20 to 30 players off their roster by that point?
Sean, that's a hell of a question. I wonder for all not just Nebraska, but all bowl teams, and even people in the playoff, would playoff teams lose guys? Probably. I mean, why? Well, why not? I think you're just going to have to make do with whoever's here, and when practices start next week, see who's around. What I'd like to see is, if you're in the portal and you're coming to Nebraska, come now. Be eligible now because and just get them out there somehow. But yeah, they'll be able to fill the team definitely. But yeah, it's going to impact the bowl team, the bowl practices. In a way, it kind of defeats the purpose of the bowl practices are supposed to help build. But if you're in the middle of a transition and everything's fluid, people are coming and going. Again, what are you building? It's hard. So I think, but I think the bottom line is they'll have a solid nucleus, a lot of players who are going to be in the bowl game, who are going to go through practices and help next year. But it's a great question.
Tom, you've seen tons of changes to the conferences. You could have Arizona State win the Big 12. You could have SMU win the ACC. Obviously, you could have Oregon win the Big 10. Is it good for college football, what we're seeing with the schools that are coming from other conferences and coming in the first year having success?
Yes. And Michael, I'm a guy who loves the brand names. Dodgers, Yankees, World Series, I'm all in. College football playoff, USC, Alabama, so on and so forth. I love the brand names, but the one thing that makes the NCAA basketball tournament work is the Cinderella stories. So why not have some of those in college football playoff? What I'm against is the idea that the Big Ten and the SEC are going to be guaranteed like 4 spots each. You have to earn that, and you don't earn that from 3 years ago or what you did 2 years ago. You earn it now. So I like the idea of an SMU in the playoff, and we'll see Boise State with the running back go up against some people and have to go on the road, or they may get the bye. But I like the way it's set up, but we're still in the first year of this. We don't know how it's going to work.
Yep.
If the SEC doesn't get their 4th, there's going to be a lot of stomping around on Sunday. That'll be kind of fun.
Hey, Tom, we appreciate it. We'll see you somewhere at a bowl game sometime soon.
Thanks for having me, guys.
We appreciate it. Coming up, we're going to talk more about some of the additions that will be added on Wednesday with signing day in the recruiting world. But now let's check back in with Molly.
Hi again, it's me, Molly, and teams are possible because of the support of their fans. We know because fans of Nebraska Public Media have been supporting us and making programs like Big Red Wrap-Up possible for decades. Call now and show your support at 800-989-8236 or go online to nebraskapublicmedia.org/donate. When you donate $25 a month, that's a one-time donation of $300, we'll send you this autographed football from Coach Tom Osborne. Coach Tom was the Huskers head coach for 25 seasons and led Nebraska to 3 national championships. This would be a great addition to your TV room. You could keep it yourself, or maybe you have a special Husker fan in your life that this would make a great gift for. Or for a one-time donation of $150, that's $12.50 a month, we'll send you this Nebraska Public Media vest. It's a soft, cozy, mid-weight fleece with zippered pockets. It's available in both men's and women's sizes, and it's perfect for tailgating or wearing to any Husker sporting event. Plus, you'll be sharing your support for Nebraska Public Media at the same time. When you make a donation to Nebraska Public Media, you support more than 200 hours of collegiate and high school sports programming annually on Nebraska Public Media. That support allows Nebraska Public Media to broadcast Nebraska State High School championships, including football, volleyball, basketball, swimming and diving, and wrestling. And you help broadcast Husker volleyball, baseball, women's basketball, and Creighton volleyball, soccer, and baseball. No matter how much you decide to donate, I invite you to make it a monthly gift. Visit our website at nebraskapublicmedia.org or call us at 800-989-8236 and tell us you want to become a sustaining star. From then on, your donation is automatic. Monthly donations mean we can count on you as we purchase and produce upcoming programs for Nebraska Public Media, like Big Red Wrap-Up. When you donate $25 a month, that's a one-time donation of $300, we'll send you this autographed football from Coach Tom Osborne. As we've mentioned, Tom is a household name in Nebraska, and he was the head coach for 25 seasons and led Nebraska to 3 national championships. It would be a great addition to your own home, your TV room, your office, or perhaps a gift for the Husker fan in your life. Or for a one-time donation of $150, that's just $12.50 a month, we'll send you this Nebraska Public Media vest. It's a soft, mid-weight fleece vest with zippered pockets, and it's available in both men's and women's sizes. It's perfect for tailgating or staying cozy in your living room or stepping out to any Husker sporting event. Plus, you'll be sharing your support for Nebraska Public Media at the same time. To those of you who've already donated and become a member, thank you. And to everyone watching tonight, thank you for your support of Nebraska Public Media.
Thanks, Molly. Welcome back in, of course, to our great studio here at Nebraska Public Media, joined by Sean Callan to talk some recruiting. Tomorrow, Wednesday, will be signing day. Tell me what you think is going to happen with Cortez Mills.
Well, Cortez Mills is the one guy to really watch closely. He will make his announcement sometime tomorrow. And he was committed to Oklahoma on July 1st. He's technically still a Sooner commit, but he is open. He's going to make an announcement. And I think Nebraska's in a really good spot. The X factor here is Ja'Cory Barney. He's very close with Ja'Cory Barney. He wants to play with Ja'Cory Barney in this offense with Dana Holgorsen. So I think Nebraska's got a lot going for him. And I look for this to be a potential big flip for the Huskers on signing day.
And he's given hints, like I know he's been working out with Nebraska, gloves on and things like that. So he's been given hints.
And give him credit. Nebraska's been relentless. They wanted a big win down the stretch in recruiting. They don't have a high-ticket quarterback like Dylan Raiola with their NIL budget. So I think they've gone all in, even from an NIL perspective, to make sure they can try to lock up Cortez Mills.
What do you think about the in-state class?
You know, I think it's a very good, deep class of players, a lot of athletic guys across the board. Christian Jones is the highest ranked of that group. I think Pierce Mooberry, though, is right up there as a guy with a lot of upside and potential. But you go down the line, it's as deep of a number of in-state Power 5s or now Power 4s that you're going to see in this state. And it'll be interesting to see how some of these guys transition. I think Jackson Carpenter is kind of a sleeper amongst that group. Somebody that is big, he's physical, he can jump, he can run, and that's a one that I'll be interested to see how he develops when he gets to Nebraska.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's do our feature recruit, Connor Booth, the record breaker.
Yeah, Connor Booth, a near 3,000-yard senior season for Wahoo Bishop Neumann. Had to play in that state championship game injured, which was unfortunate because he would have broke 3,000 yards, and I think they would have given Norfolk Catholic obviously a much better game if he was able to do what he could do normally but nonetheless, he has been a commit for Nebraska now for 2 full seasons. He committed before his junior year when he was offered a summer ago. So this is a kid that has wanted to be a Husker from the get-go. He will come in as a running back. It'll be interesting to see where they place him, though. He's also a baseball recruit. So, he's going to try to potentially give it a go with Will Bolt. I believe he's an outfielder. So it's somebody to watch as well for Nebraska in the future as a 2-sport athlete.
That might be the toughest double there is.
Yeah, I mean, Tyree Cooper
try to do it. Yeah.
Tyree Cooper tried it. It didn't work out.
Yeah.
Bubba Starling gave up football for baseball. You just don't see
Monte Harrison came all the way back.
Monte Harrison
Yep,
came back.
still playing
He's
now.
at Arkansas. He's like a 30-year-old.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Let's do our in-state recruit, Turner Bertrand.
Yeah, Turner Bertrand out of Kearney was a surprise name this year. 6'7.5", 290 pounds. Kearney High had a very good team, a semifinal team. Bertrand committed to Washington State as a relative unknown. So Kearney now has 2 players on their team that will go Power 4. They hadn't had very many in their school's history when you think about it, to have 2 in 1 year. But Turner Bertrand with a big, long frame. Washington State is a team, you don't really hear their name out here much, but with the conference shakeups now and them being kind of more an independent, at least for now.
Right.
You heard Oregon State and Washington State both recruiting the state of Nebraska, which we had never really seen until this year.
Interesting. Sean, we appreciate it.
Thanks.
You'll be busy tomorrow, I'm sure. So the rankings come out. Let's take a look at the current CFP rankings from the committee and how the bracket looks at this moment. Even with Ohio State's loss to Michigan, they're sitting at number 6. Oregon still at number 1. There's your bracket. You see Oregon sitting at number 1. Of course, we'll be playing Penn State in your Big Ten championship game. Texas at number 2. Boise slips in there. Currently, the way everything is right now, of course, they've got to win their conference championship game, and there's SMU in there as well. Around the Big Ten, Oregon and Penn State square off Saturday night, as we mentioned, in Indianapolis for the Big Ten championship game on CBS. And the conference handed over $100 fines to Michigan and Ohio State for their scuffle. That could be a lot of money. I'm not sure how much.
$100,000.
$100,000. Okay, that's a lot of money. Wow. After the scuffle Saturday, 12 Big Ten teams will make a bowl this year, which is pretty amazing. Let's go to our sideline survey, talking bowl possibilities and where Nebraska fans want to see their team go. Currently, TransPerfect Music City Bowl, Nashville. We all love that city. That'd be a great trip. Then, of course, there's Phoenix, which is the bottom of the barrel when it comes to the bowl tie-ins at 41%. And not a bunch for where they'll end up probably going, the Pinstripe Bowl in New York City. That's most likely, right, Sean?
Yeah, I've talked to people at Michigan and Iowa today, and they both have the same preferences. Their preferences right now are Tampa, Nashville, then whatever. And so at this point, I think Michigan's going to get the ReliaQuest Bowl in Tampa. Sharon Moore, after they beat Ohio State, they're the defending national champions. He goes, I want to go somewhere warm. So I think they end up in Tampa. Iowa has made it known if they're not in Tampa, which is their preference, they want to go to Nashville. They played in the Pinstripe Bowl in 2017. The Pinstripe Bowl has taken 9 different teams over the last 9 Pinstripe Bowls from the Big Ten. That's the goal of that bowl. They want to have 10 different Big Ten teams over 10 years. Guess what? Nebraska is the only team other than Michigan available that's not played in the Pinstripe Bowl. So, Mr. Damon Benning, bring your coat to that open-air press box.
Looking forward to a trip to New York?
Yeah, I can't wait. No, I mean, listen, I'm not. Beggars can't be choosy.
Yep.
And they need the practices, and I get to fly with the team, so I'm not particular about the economy or how we get there.
What do you think about facing an ACC team? Because the other bowls probably would have been an SEC team.
Yeah, well, the ACC is a unique situation because it's there's a lot of moving parts going on. I mean, you could see Boston College, you could see potentially Syracuse, Duke. So teams that we don't normally ever play.
Yep.
You know, Nebraska rarely plays ACC teams, other than maybe Wake Forest and Pitt back in the days. But that was in the Big East days when we played Pitt.
Yep.
It's at that game.
Yeah. So I love it. Listen, like I said, I'm happy they got the 6th win. I'm happy they're going to be able to get to the 14, 15 extra practices. Let these kids get out of here. Go see what a bowl game is. Go get the rewards of it. Go have fun. Go get the extra gear that you get. and go get better. Go develop some more players and get better from these extra practices.
Remember when going in the Best Buy room was a big deal?
The $500 gift card.
Ooh, you're going to get $500 gift
Yeah.
card. That was a big deal.
Yeah.
It
I
still
guess-
is, but
I
now
guess-
they're getting bigger checks than they were getting before.
Good point. Good point. These guys have a couple extra commas in their bank account now.
They're fine.
Rex
Yeah.
They're able
Burkhead
to get
bought a
that stuff.
Repco shaver at Best Buy and was all
I
happy
forgot
about it. I remember.
Yeah.
Anything's more than
Yeah.
what you
Hey,
have.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's new.
Remember when they gave bicycles on one of the trips, and the guys had to have them all shipped back, and it was
like I said, if it's free, it's me.
Yeah, I
you know.
Our game day photo winner this week goes to Ashley Lund and family preparing the toddlers to be black. Oh, that's so cute. Come on, give me a break there. And for the shot, Ashley gets a Nebraska Public Media Sports shirt for sharing that with us. And now, what the viewers think from this week, we'll get to some of those questions. Let's start off with just a feel for the season. We'll start off with you, Jay, and we'll go around. I know it's not over. You got a bowl game, but what's your feel after these 12 games?
Yeah, it's definitely highs and lows. The feel after that Colorado game was sky high.
Oh, yeah.
And then you kind of had, once you hit that Indiana game, or Illinois, it was different. You're close, but the Indiana game set you back. And then you had that losing streak. And then you get the Wisconsin game, you finally get that 6th win. You're like, okay, here we go into Iowa. Then obviously what happened to Iowa. So I think, listen, to me, people might disagree with me. This was a successful year. They're moving in the right direction. I know things are changing. Things are different. And this is, unfortunately, maybe this is the new college football, right?
Yep.
I mean, just with the transfer portal, coaches leaving, it's just what it's going to be. But I feel good about getting that extra win, and Coach Rule just identifying what really needs to get done. I really feel good about how things are heading into year 3.
What about 2024 for you?
Yeah, it's a little philosophical, but weird, right? I'm a big fan of spend as much time as you can together. I like the fact that they were building a culture that I think is very productive once you get done with college. And, I've argued with you about this, with anybody that'll listen. Nebraska's success in the 70s, 80s, and 90s was more an anomaly, given their geographical location, than it was to not be successful. And so, if we can find a way, spending time at a bowl game together, winning in the postseason, and get back to the university being the most important thing, bigger than the coach that recruited you or whomever else, where it's like, man, I really love just the University of Nebraska and my experience. That's going to be the tie that binds, that gets this program back over the hump. In the world of NIL and the transfer portal, it has to be about something bigger than you. Start with the university.
Sean?
Yeah, I think when you look at this season, 6-6, but they, to me, 9 wins was there for them. The Illinois game,
8 for sure.
the UCLA game, and the Iowa game. And those are the 3 I look at. Overtime loss. We know they should have won the Iowa game. And the UCLA game was at home in November. That was one you look at now that, they needed. I can live with the Indiana loss, the Ohio State loss, the effort especially shown at Ohio State. And the USC game, that's a tough matchup. USC's record's very deceiving. So this is a 6-win year where 8 or 9 easily could have been there. And I think that's where, the guy that's growing up watching Nebraska, following it, you know how close they are to that, but yet every day it seems so far. But we saw a lot of progress. The moments of dominance we saw from the defense were elite at times. The Ohio State game, the Colorado game, what they did to Kyle Monungai, what they did to Caleb Johnson. I mean, those were some of the better defensive moments any team has had in the Big Ten this year.
Judkins,
I mean, just what they did in those games, that was such a high point. So the Indiana game was just so hard to wrap your hands around how they got beat that bad on that day.
Yeah, but the secondary, UCLA, USC, even Wisconsin, giving up the 400 yards, that was tough. But Lloyd wants to know, interested in your opinion, lack of sportsmanship displayed by the team captains not shaking hands, decoy toss.
Were you captain?
What's that?
Were you captain?
Yeah, well, I wasn't. I had been captain before. I wasn't elected a team captain my senior year, but I was captain multiple times throughout my junior and senior year. They kind of elected. We shook hands. That's what we did.
It's a little thing.
I get the cops protecting the logo. I understand that thing.
I don't think it's debatable.
Yeah.
You shake hands.
Yeah.
You just shake hands. It's a little
Just-
thing.
yeah.
You said earlier, it's a little thing you should do.
Just shake
It's just
hands.
a little thing. You walk up and shake
Be
hands.
bigger. Don't let them
I
pettiness.
can't even
Don't
imagine.
let them win on that kind of thing.
There's a guy that had to do that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even cross my mind to not.
Yeah.
Well, I heard that a couple times this
Even
season
at
it's happened
Arizona
before.
State, where they literally, you talk about, no disrespect to Higgins, but what Rule did was nothing.
Nothing, yeah.
Compared to what Arizona State did, literally coming through our warm-ups.
Yeah.
And we shook hands.
Right.
Now, they kicked our tail, So that was part of it.
Yeah.
We shook hands.
I always tell people that in boxing, the guy that doesn't touch gloves always gets knocked out.
Yeah.
That's a given. It's
much.
karma, baby.
Ask Quick Tillis.
Yeah, definitely.
Not having elected captains, though, do you think that kind of has a looser line of leadership?
I do.
When you have four,
It's a good point.
You have Elliott Brown up there, a guy. I mean, you have players that aren't necessarily looked at as the faces of your team out there representing that moment, and the brand damage that moment did was bad.
I guarantee you, Coach Rule would say shake hands.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Sean, let me ask you real quick. Fred wants to know, when guys jump in the portal, do they automatically lose access to the facilities, training table, and all that stuff?
I think it's a case-by-case basis. Every situation's different, but in most cases, yes. The big thing you lose access to generally is your NIL.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the minute you enter the portal, generally your contract with the collective is going to say, you're no longer going to be a part of the team. And this is a list of.
Who's the list? Who jumps out at you?
Jamari Butler is a big one, obviously. James Williams going in tonight.
Bayer, too. I mean, he was a solid player.
Returning leading tackler, Mekhi Bayer.
Yeah. What about you, Jay?
Yeah, Jamari and Mekhi. James, his ability to rush the passer off the edge. I mean, he single-handedly took over that Rutgers game from the edge.
Yep.
Princewell was played so well, a little underachieved from this year.
Yeah.
But I think Sherman, stepped up, and they do play a lot of guys. Nebraska plays a ton of guys on that side of the football. But you're going to see this obviously with Tony White's departure. How many of these guys follow him to potentially to Florida State? This bugs me now. You see some of these guys referring to holler at their agent through this. It bugs me because I don't think those guys, I've been around agents.
Sure.
And I know some good ones. I know some bad ones, and a lot of times the bad ones don't have those kids' best interests at heart. They have their best interests at heart. So I hope these kids are getting the right information and getting the process to make the right decision about.
Burning question. Start with you, Sean.
My burning question is, what is this all going to look like here for a bowl game? What kind of team will Nebraska field, and how motivated will be Nebraska now to play in a bowl game?
Can Coach Rule continue to push the right buttons with defensive selections? He's pretty good at putting defensive staffs together. See if that trend continues.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what tomorrow brings with the signing day. Some guys that end up signing on the dotted line that we don't know about yet to get some more talent, get some more athleticism in here, and continue to build this thing. Like Damon said, get guys that want to be at Nebraska. Mm-hmm. It's about Nebraska. That's what we need. We need guys who are about Nebraska, not about themselves, not about a coach. We need Nebraska guys. And
specifically on burning question is, can they bring in guys to build around Dylan Raiola? You look at any level, you got a quarterback that's a 5-star. You got to bring in guys, whether it is on the offensive tackle spot, wide receivers, or whoever else. Building around him is very important. Next week, Tuesday night, we'll be back with another Big Red wrap-up. We'll recap the new recruits that are signing on Wednesday, and we'll look ahead to what the bowl Huskers will be in. It'll be a bowl preview. The show's on World, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live at 7 p.m. And Tuesday, you can catch the re-air at 10 p.m. on Nebraska Public Media on Thursday as well. Don't forget to check out Nebraska High School Classics anytime on youtube.com/Nebraska Public Media. Our special thanks to Tom Chattel for being with us. For Jay Moore, Damon Benning, and Sean Callahan, I'm Michael Severe. We'll see you next week on Big Red Wrap-Up.